What's up guys, JV2017 here, and I am bringing you a new Fallout 4 tips and tricks video. I thought it would be nice to talk about how to make the most of all of the items scattered around the Commonwealth in this video. And just a quick reminder guys, this is your #1 hub for Fallout 4 content here on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and stay tuned on my channel for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos. Today we're going to focus on junk items, because personally my main character has low strength and I'm finding it hard to, go out in the world and do a lot of things without having to go back and dump off all of my junk. I don't have a ton of carrying weight. So really, this video is designed to help you decide what kind of junk is worth picking up and what isn't. So we'll talk about junk related perks, methods for tracking your junk, and most importantly, which items you should never ignore in the Wasteland and which ones you should definitely ignore. Just don't pick these things up. But before we begin, I'd like to point out that I do think it's generally a good idea to pick up everything. I mean, character builds with high strength and strong back probably have little issues with carrying weight, but some people will reach a point like I have where they don't want to pick up absolutely everything and they just want the essentials, the things that they really need. And that's what this video is all about. So first off, let's talk about the prime perk for, scavenging and finding junk items, and that is Scrapper. So Scrapper requires Intelligence 5, and essentially you're able to salvage more materials or components from weapons and armor, and then rank 2 allows you to highlight tagged items. So let's talk about this. First off, Scrapper is only applicable to weapons and armor. So if you take Scrapper and you just collect any old junk, that does not matter. You're not going to get anything more from just collecting junk. It's only when you're able to go to your weapons workbench or your armor workbench and actually salvage those items will you get more of these certain items. And each of the ranks have very specific items that you'll be able to find. For example, rank 1 will find, copper, for example, among other things. And then rank 2 will give you like nuclear material, something that's a little more rare rather than just uncommon items. This was actually one of the first perks I took in the game on my main character. So as I progress with this perk, I've noticed that certain items will yield more or less materials and components. I mean, certain armor doesn't yield any components because you can't even salvage it. So those kind of items I would leave behind unless you want to collect like novelty items like I do. I like to collect, certain hats and whatnot. But this is something you'll notice if you take this perk while you're playing through the game. And most importantly, at rank 2, level 23, you will be able to highlight items in the world that you have tagged. So let's talk about tagging materials. And this is an interesting system that works through the Pip-Boy, but essentially how it works is that you tag materials within certain items to search for while you're out in the world. And if you find an item that has a tagged material, it will be highlighted on your screen. It's actually a very helpful thing to use. I don't think a lot of people are actually using this. So the way that this works is you go into your Pip-Boy, you go to the inventory tab, and then scroll over to junk, and that'll show you all the junk you have, of course. And then there will be a button, depending on your platform that you're playing on, that says component view. So once you switch to that, that actually breaks down all of the junk items into their respective materials, and that's where you can click another button to actually tag specific materials for search, and you'll see the little magnifying glass icon. So for example, if I'm looking for adhesive and acid, I'm just going to tag both of those things, and then whenever I go out in the world, let's say I'm searching a trunk or a container and there's duct tape in there, then I'm going to see a magnifying glass on that duct tape. But if I have Scrapper rank 2, that entire trunk or container is going to be highlighted. It's going to be lit up. So for example, in the gameplay right now, I've got this blood bag in front of me, this meat bag from the mutants, and I've tagged for an antiseptic, I believe. And so that entire bag is lit up for me at a certain distance. It only works at a certain distance. And so I know if I'm looking for a very specific item, it will be highlighted in the world, which is actually very useful. Now let's talk about certain items in the world that you absolutely should pick up. And we're gonna start with I like to call high value junk. These are things you should always pick up no matter what when you see them in the world, and actually throw out other things in your inventory if they're taking up space and you're not able to get these things. So I would say every single lighter that you find, pick that up. Every circuit board, definitely pick that up. Anything that's military grade, any military grade item that's duct tape, ammo bags, things like that, pick up military grade items. Pick up all microscopes if they're powered or not. Pick up any kind of metal bars. So that'll be like silver bars, copper bars, gold bars. Those have very high value. You definitely want to pick those up. Any kind of adhesive, pick it up no matter what. I know there are other methods, through vegetable starch where you can make them at home. But before you do that, before you have, unlimited adhesive, that's easy to make, go ahead and pick up every single type of adhesive. It's very, very useful and worth it. All types of oil cans, anything that has the word oil on it will give you plenty of oil. So that's high value junk right there. Any kind of camera, so the Pro Snap camera is important. Pick those up. Any kind of poison, so rat poison that has antiseptic is very useful. And then finally, alarm clocks. Any normal alarm clock or the Wake Master is the special alarm clock. Pick all of those up. This is all of the high value junk. I actually went through the entire list of junk in the game and I kind of weighed the odds basically between what yields the most material and what weighs the least. And if something weighed too much but yielded a good amount of material, I didn't include it on this list. But this is what I like to call my always pick up list. It's a very long list, so I put it in the description of this video because I'm not going to put it on the screen. There's probably 100 plus items in here, but if you guys just kind of want to peruse that list that I put in the description of this video, those are all items that you should probably pick up. They're not exactly all high value, but I did put an asterisk on some of those items that I do believe are high value that you should pick up no matter what. Even throw away a weapon, not a good weapon, but a bad weapon in order to pick up one of those items. That's how good they are. That's how good, the materials and components are, that they will yield and not weigh you down. And finally, here's a short list of items that you should avoid picking up. These are things that weigh too much and yield, little material. It's not worth your time. So the medical liquid nitrogen dispenser looks very fancy, but don't pick this thing up. It weighs 5 weight and it only gives you 2 steel. Nothing fancy with this thing at all. Just don't pick it up. Extinguishers are another thing that look fancy, that look like they have a good amount of items, but they just weigh a little bit too much. I don't pick up extinguishers. Any kind of buckets are not worth your time either. They don't yield enough materials for their weight. Then finally, wrenches are kind of in the same boat. Don't really worry about picking up wrenches. They're not worth your time. What I want to know is what kind of junk items do you guys usually pick up? What is your go-to kind of thing that you see and you're like, yes, I need to pick that up no matter what. That's something I always have to pick up. I know I have a few things that I always pick up. I always pick up cigarette cartons for some reason. Actually, they're a pretty high value thing. I put them on my always pick up list because they don't weigh a lot and they give you plenty of, cloth, asbestos, things like that. So I also want to know, are you guys running a strength or strong back character? I have actually not run this kind of character yet, so I don't know what it's like to pick up absolutely everything and not have to worry about my carrying weight, but it sounds fantastic. Share all of that stuff below. Alright guys, today I shared a few pointers on junk items in Fallout 4, and next time we will cover more Fallout on my channel, so stay tuned for daily Fallout 4 tips and tricks videos, and remember that this is your #1 hub for all Fallout 4 content on YouTube. If you learned something new, remember to hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. And don't forget to subscribe for continued content coming very soon. I'm working on another character build guide. I really enjoyed how you guys liked that video. So that's going to be coming very soon here on my channel. Talk to you guys next time. Peace.